what is as well the role of audit committees in this, if you want, critical stage?
Okay, it's it's a very interesting question, and I wouldn't say only about the audit committee. I will comment on the audit committee, and I will also comment on the other committees as well, on the risk management committee, on the compliance committee, and on a very important committee, which is the nomination and remuneration committee. And I say that in all the sessions that I give all the time. In my opinion, the most critical committee of the board of directors, which I believe is being provided with the least amount of attention. And I'm not saying everywhere, but I'm saying in general, in my opinion, is the nomination and remuneration committee. Why? At the end of the day, on all committees, all directors of the board or senior management, what do we need? We need good people in the right place that are ethical. The best way to do that is to having strong principles at the nomination and remuneration committee level to ensure that I'm getting the right people in the right place, that I am rewarding them properly, and that I'm not setting policies that actually incentivize fraudulent behavior. And actually set policies that can enhance productivity for the sake of the stakeholders. So having said that, I come to the audit committee, where we need to first make sure that we have, I'm not saying that current members of audit committees are not good. Many of them are excellent and are great, and they come from excellent backgrounds. But at the same time, we might need to reassess the composition of the audit committee in terms of overall skill set. So does the audit committee really have the skill set required to oversee the work of the external and internal auditor in an effective manner? One of the things that I worry about is having audit committees working as only on a one-way stream, where they only receive information. One of the biggest challenges that we're gonna face in this era is that we need an audit committee not only to protect the audit function or protect the external auditors and give them the independence and all that stuff. We need audit committees to challenge them. We need audit committees to keep them on their toes. Now, I know this is happening in many organizations, but for those that it is not happening, this is what we need to focus on. We don't want to keep it as a one-way communication between the head of audit or the external auditor and the audit committee. So to do that, we need to have a skill set among the members that is not only an accounting background. I mean, you still see it in many regulations across many countries I've been through in the Gulf. For example, for banks sometimes, which is a heavy regulated industry, you will find that in the audit committee, they tell you we need at least one person with an accounting background. Okay, for sure. We need someone with an accounting background. But no, we need now someone with an internal audit background. We need someone with industry background. We need someone who's actually worked in this industry and can actually add value to the auditor himself. Because at the end of the day, the head of internal audit in any industry needs the technical support from the audit committee as well. And this is something that we could have not maybe been giving the right attention previously. And I believe this is a good opportunity for us to reconsider the mix of the directors that are sitting on the audit committee, and not only the audit committee. I mean, the risk committee, same applies for the risk committee and for the compliance committee as well.
And now a question related to the risk management as well and internal audit function. Why do you think that risk management and internal audit functions failed to identify the risk of COVID-19 early enough and design a proper response plan?
It's not about why internal audit and risk management didn't identify the risks and didn't prepare response plans for that. The question really is, why did organizations fail to see the risks of an upcoming pandemic and take the necessary measures for that? This is the first question we need to ask. And then we need to ask, where was the role of the monitoring function? At the end of the day, the ownership of risk lies with the management and lies with the board of directors, and the response plans should be prepared accordingly. I always say it in many sessions that I am giving. And I said it earlier in the interview today, which is the losses that we incurred were not because of COVID-19. It was because we were not prepared for COVID-19. If we had invested 20% of the losses that we incurred as a result of COVID-19 in the last 4 months or 5 months if they were previously invested in areas that could have made us better prepared for this pandemic, we would have been in a better situation today globally. Not only I'm talking about specific countries or specific organizations. Now, why weren't organizations prepared? They were not prepared because the pre-COVID-19 era mentality was about profit optimization, increasing in profits, cost optimization, growth, increases in stock prices. These were the key metrics we were actually focusing on. Now, we were integrating some some governance, social, environmental factors, but they were still in early processes. So this is why the organizations were not prepared, because we were so focused on a key set of metrics that are specifically financial that we didn't invest in other areas. Now, why didn't the risk management people focus on these things? Why didn't the internal audit people focus on this? Simply, and this is where I answer your original question, is that audit functions, risk management functions, monitoring functions in general, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people might disagree with me, have become anchored towards the mentality that organizations were being run by in the past. So basically, we reached a level where we also were no longer seeing these risks as organizations were not seeing them. And I believe this is a very important lesson for internal auditors and risk management professionals. Don't become anchored by what's happening around you, because that can change in 1 hour. And this is what the pandemic has taught us. Now, one of our most difficult jobs as monitoring functions is having to explain and deal with things that are currently not impacting these organizations. So if I went to an organization or to a board of directors 5 or 6 months ago, and I told them, okay, listen, we're going to shut down. We're going to need to expect, if we shut down completely for 4 months, everyone's going to be working from home. Economies are going to be falling, and airplanes will no longer be in the sky. They would have laughed at me. Why? Because we were all anchored to believe that these things are impossible. And same thing applies to the internal auditors and the risk management professionals. Now, the lesson learned is that no one can no longer come and say that you're speaking rubbish. This is a very, very low likelihood. However, the question will be, are internal auditors and risk management professionals ready for the new challenge in being able to communicate with the board of directors and senior management at a reasonable level, taking into consideration the least likelihoods of risks happening? This is the key challenge that they will face in the future. So this is basically a summary of my answer to your question.